Hello and welcome back for our next video in our Investing Fundamentals course. And in this one, we're going to talk about a very important metric that you have to calculate and evaluate when you're making a new investment. And that's called return on investment. And it applies everywhere. It applies to your car, it applies to your house, it applies to your investments, pretty much everything. And ROI, as it's most commonly used, is basically a method, a concept that helps you understand how much money you are making as a percentage on the money that you spend to make that money. So if I spend $1,000 and make $1,000, I basically made the exact amount of money that I spent. I doubled my money. So that's 100% ROI because I made the same amount, 100% of it. So it's actually a ratio that defines how much of that original money that you spent you're getting back. And as you are doubling your money, you're doubling your ROI, for example. And let's see a simple example here. Let's say that we spent $1,000 to make and sell a product, and when we sold it, we made $2,000 in profit. And let's exclude any other expenses like marketing, for example, which would be part of our ROI calculation if we want to make it too complex. But in this case, I'm trying to make it simple. And so with an ROI of $2,000 in profit and $1,000 spent to make it, so the first thing we need to do is actually discover how much we made. So we made what? $2,000 in profit, so minus $1,000 that we spent. So our gross profit is the amount of money after the expenses that we had to make the product. Remember, we discussed about the gross profit earlier in an earlier video. We made $1,000 as extra. And now we want to express this $1,000 that we make as a percentage of what we spent. So we do that with what? With a simple division. This is how we do it. Remember, 10 divided by 100 is like 10%. So this is how we express ratios. And so 1,000 divided by $1,000, we discover it's actually 1, and then we multiply it by 100 to make it a percentage, and then it becomes 100%. And now you see that we kept the whole of it, 1, the whole 9 yards. So $1,000 we spent, $1,000 we make, 100% ROI. We got our money back. That's what it means. And an extra money back. I mean, we obviously have our capital as well, but we actually got the same return, which was our original capital. And another example here. Let's say we spent the same $1,000, but this time we made $1,500 back. Similarly, we need to find how much we made, our gross profit, which is $500, and then divide it with the $1,000 that we spent, which is expressing a ratio between how much we made and how much we spent to make that. And now we discover that we actually made 50% on our investment. We invested $1,000 to make $500 extra. So that's an investment of 50%. That's a return on investment of 50%. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a simple yet very, very important concept because it helps you understand and evaluate different investments. And it plays a very, very integral role in determining which ones are the best investments for your portfolio. So for instance, if you are investing in the S&P 500 index fund, this typically has an about 10% yield every year. If you exclude the inflation, it's gonna be about 7 to 8%. But let's say 10. So if you're getting a 10% yield every year, this means that your return on investment is 10% every year, and you can obviously calculate that over the years as well with the compounding effect too. And so by spending $10,000 and buying an index fund like the S&P 500, you have basically sort of like locked a 10% ROI. And now your job as an investor is to discover investments that can potentially give you a higher ROI, higher than 10%. And this is where you can evaluate companies based on what they are making, for example. So is it actually, does the company actually make more than 10% of what you spent to buy that company? So are you expecting this to grow more than 10% in your portfolio? Of course, there is also the element of risk and the element of market sentiment and all that. But still, this is how we evaluate investments in a normal way, in a sort of like value investing way, and not just getting lucky with it and just getting a stock that goes up for no reason. when we're doing it in a fundamental analysis way that makes sense, we need to take a proper look at return on investment and decide whether it's worthwhile to invest in that stock or index fund or business. That's how it works. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. And in case you were not aware of ROI, you learned a few things today. And if you did like, you may leave a like and subscribe to the series or the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.